Everyone, one and all, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody's doing amazingly well today. If not, hopefully we can bring you a little bit of support and love, whatever it is that you need today. So if you are brand new here, welcome. If this is the first time you are visiting our little unicorn realm on the internet, then welcome. And for those of you who are returning, of course, welcome. So I did put out a little poll on the community tab here in Unicorn Light Tarot, and it was unanimous. So glad and happy to say that. So we're having every Sunday, we will be uploading a Ask the Goddess, working with the Goddess for the following week. So this week we are working with Goddess Hecate, 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 however you want to say her name, spelt with a C, spelt with a K, very powerful goddess, goddess of witches, goddess of the underworld, friend to Persephone, for your, let's see, I've got a cat whisker here, for your upcoming week. So we will be delving into your upcoming week themes, what to expect, any kind of information that we can give you. And here comes Mildred as usual. I tried to check her out of the room while we were reading, but she snuck back in, so she's going to get comfortable in a second. So we will be working with Goddess Hecate today. So it is your week starting tomorrow, the 22nd. And this, of course, is a very powerful week because even though Mercury takes a while till March 13th to get back to exactly how it was working before, our Mercury retrograde did turn direct yesterday. So for those of you who have just come out of very much feeling the 3.5 weeks of Mercury in retrograde, now is the time to get a little bit of feedback on what happened there and how to work with this energy moving forward. So as always, we have our healing candle. Been using recently this beautiful oil that I made with this magic oil that I made with cloves for healing, for lust, for life, for fertility. And again, this, creative projects, however you want to interpret that. And we have 3 piles as always. We're using, bringing back magic because she is the queen of witches, our beautiful Hecate. So candle magic here today. Our first candle magic spell candle is pink for pile 1, self-love and all that beautiful heart chakra energy. And then we have the pile 2 with the white candle. White candle traditionally for me is used for an all-round whatever it is that you want to do. So you can absolutely project onto that for pile 2 and see what comes up for you. It's pretty much open-ended. And then pile 3, we have our purple magic candle here for the higher chakras, for spirituality, for working with your guides. So as always, take as much time as you need. The more aligned you are with your energy, the more you will get from these readings, these activations, these healings, however you want to see them. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video to align, come back to your own center, then do whatever you need to do. The timestamps, as always, are down below. Now let's move right in here and get going. All right. So if you chose pile 1 and you chose the pink candle of self-healing and self-love, whatever it is self-love means to you, then this is your reading. We're going to start off with these beautiful tarot. And then we have just a few oracle cards here, and then we're just going to pull in some oracle as we go to get you some more information. So again, we're working with the goddess Hecate for your upcoming week. So let's see what we have. Ooh, Princess of Wands and the Magician. Absolutely wonderful. So pile 1, your week, your theme for the week is really about bringing back your power, bringing back who you are, bringing back that passion and that fire that you had, and using it and wielding it, we should say, the word that I'm getting, wielding it the way in which you want it to be wielded, and also putting out your energy. There's been a lot for you in the last 3.5 weeks with everything coming up, and now it's been kind of an intense time for most of you. Now, I always say in Mercury in retrograde, if you have a really intense time with Mercury in retrograde, the universe is saying that you can handle it. And it always means that when Mercury goes direct, that you're out of the eye of the storm and you're much more likely to be able to see the bigger picture, and you'll be able to integrate the energy fully. And that's what you're doing. A lot of you have had like a really intense 3.5 weeks. But for most of you, it would not have been something that you that surprised you. A lot of stuff that was coming up for you, and the Mercury retrograde, that period for you, what it provided was a beautiful period for everything to kind of come together, culminate, and then sort of release at the same time. Now, why this could have been quite overwhelming in the 3.5 weeks, and at time you felt as though, why is all of this happening at the same time? It also came together because now you're on the other side of it, and you're definitely sort of riding the wave a lot better now, rather than feeling overwhelmed, or for some of you even drowning a little bit. Now you can come out on the other side of it, and you can see what energy you're left with now that you've released. The last 3.5 weeks for you would have been a time for a lot of connections, making these connections. Now, some of these connections could have been quite obvious in some ways. Why didn't I get this 10 years ago? But it wasn't really about how obvious everything was. It was about how you were manifesting and understanding this at a core level. When it's at a core level, it can be released. This energy can be released for good. You were always peeling back the layers of the onion for like many, many years. So you've had these epiphanies before, but these were profound epiphanies, which were quite simple. Oh, this leads to this. I've been doing this because of that. Oh my goodness, yes. And yes, they did seem simple. But again, you were releasing them and realizing them at a core level. That is not a small thing. So now you're left with exactly who you are. And the biggest thing for you, Pal 1, is that you realize there's a really big difference between your mind and your heart. Seeing your life through your mind's eye versus seeing yourself through your heart's eye. Now, your mind... until we get to the point where we can control our mind and we can understand how to work with our minds, right? The mind can often control us and send us down all sorts of rabbit holes and loopholes. And the mind works in a very, very specific way. It's there to protect you. It doesn't really necessarily on a psychological level want you to go out there and succeed in this, that, and the other. There's nothing wrong with it. It works in tandem with your ego. It doesn't want you hurt or anything. If anything, it's protecting you. But it sees everything, particularly new, as a little bit of a no-no, right? So if we listen to our sort of a practical mind, it'll give us all sorts of reasons not to do things. So you've realized this in the last 3.5 weeks. You've also realized where a lot of your shortcomings come from, where they derived from, where they live within your psyche, within your body. And now you're at this really beautiful point where you can say, this no longer works for me anymore. When it comes up, and this negative sort of attitude comes up, where it's really trying to protect you, not evil in any way, really trying to protect you, but not really interesting in sort of spreading your wings and getting out there. You can say, oh, this is an old mindset. That's fine. I'm gonna look through with my heart now. Now, when you look, smile with your heart. When you look at your heart center and you ask your heart, what's next for me? What's going on? If you're ever trying to figure out what you should do next, or the answer to a question, and your mind sending you all over the place, because it'll give you many different reasons not to do things. Step back into your heart chakra and ask your heart. Your heart goes exactly with your intuition and will give you the exact answer that you're looking for. If you do this properly, you absolutely will never go wrong. Now, sometimes your mind's eye and your heart is absolutely on the same page, and that's wonderful, but it doesn't happen as often as we think. So, you're really in this point of power of going down to your heart. It's no surprise that you chose this, your heart center, working with your heart, really working with what it is that you want versus what it is that you feel as though you should do. So, working with your heart center. And really asking your heart center and working from your heart center from now on in really allows you to come into your own when it comes to your own power and your passion and your fire. You've always had a lot of get up and go, but sometimes you've used that power sort of against yourself a little bit, gone down different roads, or that power's turned to anger and you've kept it within. But there's been a lot of releasing recently. So in this next week, it's about really reclaiming your power in a brand new way. Now, this way may feel really magnificent to some of you, and it may feel as though for others of you, it may feel as though it's so natural, it's always been there. Like we said, a lot of the stuff that you've gone through in the last 3.5 weeks have been these really intense aha moments, but they've been so sort of rudimentary in some way. These really huge kind of shifts for you, you already could have been really easing into, and now you're just moving on. So it's about gathering your power and wielding it the way in which you want to for the first time. Now, power is wielded when it's moved from beyond the ego, and that's something that you can do now. Living from your heart center, your connection to your guide, your connection to your intuition. You'll think of something and then it'll show up in a TV show. All these little things that have happened to you in the past, certainly these are pretty much happening for you all the time now, and you're going to see these throughout this week coming, starting tomorrow. Actually, it'll start tonight, coming tomorrow. All these little synchronicities coming in just to show you where your power is. So this week is all about how you wield your power, the beginning aspects of how you wield your power, enjoying it and understanding where your limitations were before and how you're moving forward now. Let's see what we've got here. Communication and self-love. Oh my goodness, I promise you. I really do try to I have a lot of oracles that we work with sort of off camera, and then we use them. Oh, sorry, that was Mildred. She is really not an elegant cat. God love her. So yeah, she's very clumsy. So I think the camera's fine. But these I did pick ahead of time, but I didn't look. But my goodness, we've got self-love here, and coming in, we've got 61 if this number means anything to you. Put it together, we've got 7. So again, you've moved from a 4 or a 5 before the Mercury went into retrograde, and again, that was a very intense period for you. As you come out, you're at a 7 moving to a 10. All about how you display self-love will be completely different in this week. And how you communicate who you are will be completely different this week. You will find that you'll be working. Now, there might be some ups and downs for you this week as you wield this new power, but bear with yourself. And again, for a lot of you, you held a lot of your emotions in, and then there was a trigger, and then you would go off, and the person that was receiving may or may not have really deserved it, and sometimes they really did deserve it, but at the same time, you felt like an idiot afterwards because you were like, oh, is this the right time to do this, or I should have done that. This person absolutely deserves what I just gave them, but maybe not the way in which I did it. So this is about the communication. Now everything is free and you've released it all. You really get to choose on a very different level. There's nothing kept in, there's nothing overflowing, there's nothing boiling up within you. And this is the way that you've used this sort of energy before with the passion and the power. And sometimes you've used this energy for some of you, if this feels right for you, sometimes throughout your life, people have underestimated you, and you've used that underestimation to say, well, they don't know me, this is what I'm going to do, and you've achieved an incredible amount. And that was wonderful for you. 2 thumbs up. Well done, Pawan. But you don't need to do that anymore. Everybody's rooting for you. You're rooting for you. In that time where everybody was expecting something from you, or who do you think you are, going for this, that, and the other, whether they said it or not, this is how you felt. without that method of moving forward driving you anymore, you can really see what you're absolutely capable of. So your energy and your power and your passion is coming from somewhere else. And this is sort of brand new for you. So you'll be wielding that power with your communication. And when you communicate, you'll be communicating from a grounded center of authority. You've always had an aspect of that, but this is a brand new level. So when you, so we want you to be able to use this to a really pragmatic and dramatic effect this week. This is the time to sit down with your guides, sit down with Hecate, if you feel comfortable with, if you've ever worked with her. She's leading this today. So these are the messages that are coming from her. But you can sit down with the 33 here. You can sit down with your guides. This is the right time to say to your guides, what's next? This is what I want. What is my next step? You're in this position to be able to do that, to be able to strive for what it is that you actually want. You have the power to go out and get it now. Now, you always had the willpower to go out and get it, but your foresight wasn't, you were still sort of bunged up a little bit with all sorts of different energies. And the only person that's ever held you back, of course, is yourself. But there was a divine timing element to what you wanted to. You really had decided that, you know, what you wanted to achieve, you wanted to achieve it for the right reasons, and you wanted to feel a certain way. You wanted to have your existence. You wanted to know who you were before you achieved what you achieved. A lot of people just go out there and, you know, wonderful. They go out there and they achieve things so young, and that's wonderful. And when they get it, they, you know, it can be really confusing for them, and they find themselves quite miserable. But you realize that this was the opposite, in which case, the way in which you wanted to do things, it was completely the opposite. So you are very much knowing who you are. You're grounded in your heart center now. Again, working from your heart center. You can really communicate in this very powerful way now that there's nothing, not that there was anything ever holding you back, but there were blockages and there were obstacles there that we want to be clear that were there for you. To get through in a way so you could come out on the other side of them. And again, there's a divine timing aspect for you. So you can work very powerfully in this next week, and we suggest that you do, with your guides. What is it that you want me to know? This is what I want. How do I get there? What's my next step? And really check in with this passion and power that's now free to wield its power. And also all the work that you've been doing. You've really been doing this work, especially in the last 8 months. But it's in the last 8 months to a year. It's been a very transformational time for you. But we would say in the last 5 years, one way or another, although it's been more incremental in the time before the last 8 months or year, that's really pushed everything through for you. So you're absolutely ready. For some of you, you might be feeling a little whiplash because you've gone through so much. But we absolutely promise you that this is your time to step in. This next week will be a very powerful time for you. You can go in any direction that you want to with your communication. Remember, fall into that self-love, fall into that heart chakra. You have this communication with your divine feminine, your divine masculine, which is sort of a theme that's been coming up recently in the last couple of months with the outer sphere, with the collective energy of really coming into balancing the divine masculine, the divine feminine, where action meets intuition. And this is something that you've mastered, or this is something that you've really cleaned out at its core in the last 3.5 weeks. So this week, really see what you can achieve. There's nothing that you can't do. For everyone, these are general readings. For everyone, you'll be going off in different directions. You'll all be wanting different things, but it's all there for you now, for the taking, as it were. So let's see what else we have here with the Cosmic Dancer Oracle. So this is your foundation for moving forward. A very powerful week for you. Take it slow. Pile 1. For most of you, you already know what you want to achieve, so it should be really easy for you to move forward and work with your guides, and really just sit with your guides, the way in which you communicate with them, the power and the level. Again, these synchronicities, which you always had in your life, will be coming in thick and fast. It's almost like you have this very clear, there was a division before. You blocked yourself a little bit, but there's a very clear communication process between you and your guides now. You'll ask a question within 30 seconds, you'll get it. There'll be a knowing feeling. You'll turn on the computer, it'll be right there. So let's see what we have here. Get you some more messages. Come back to center. Absolutely. We've already said that. Again, with you protected in the middle, come back to center. Really enjoy this week. Try on this new energy. Try on the power that it has when it comes into this, again, this really divine, masculine and feminine root here, this absolute pleasure of being absolutely stable in this gorgeousness here, and being able to move in any direction. Let's see what else we have here. Come back to center. Absolutely. That's something that you'll be doing anyway. And be a channel. Absolutely. You're leveling up the way in which we talked about the communication with your beautiful guides here. You will be coming back into a sense of the channel. Everything that you want, all the information that you need is right there. It's direct now. It's almost like, you know, you pick up the phone, you dial a number, you get right through. So this is a brand new way for you to be. Enjoy this. For some of you, you might be rethinking what it is that you want to achieve. You might be going to a higher level. That's wonderful. Again, that's Mildred in the corner. Just speak to your guides and say, what is it that you want me to do? Again, you've moved out of this ego stance and moved into this heart-centered way of being. So as long as you communicate with your guides and say what is best for the world, what is the best for the highest side of who I am, what is it that I should achieve in this lifetime, it will all come to you. And there's no reason why there shouldn't be a profound amount of success for you while you're doing this and being of service to the world. This is where you're at. This is a new step, a new path for you, a very, very powerful path that begins this week. So enjoy this power coming to you. Let's do one more. This is the star seeds. One more big card here. This is a very powerful time for you to be able to go in any direction. But take it slow this week. Wield this power the way in which you want. And because it will work differently for each of you. Lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before, absolutely. And the magician also bringing in that ancient wisdom, bringing in who you are at any time and how to wield it and integrate it in this lifetime. What is the best way to help others? What is the best way for me to feel connected in this lifetime? There's a new level of connection coming in for you in this week too. Just sit with your memories, sit with who you are. And again, when we say your memories, we mean who you were and pulling in all of that power from past lifetimes. We don't mean going back to any of that past. If these old systems that you had before, you've already made the connections from where they came from. If these old like negative patterns come up, you can say, we already know that came from this, that, and the other. Thank you. We don't need it anymore. You shouldn't have a problem with that anyway, with this new sense of divine feminine and masculine coming in at this profound level and leveling out and giving you this confidence to move forward, to know exactly where you start and your past, you know, finishes and where you begin. So one more for you. We've got the Making Magic here. I love these cards. So let's just get you one more today. So this is a beautiful week for you to be able to go in any direction. Just got this really, also with Hecate, with spider she comes into, but the spider energy, wielding that, this is not quite spider energy, but you get the idea, wielding your web with creativity, bringing all your creative aspects together. A lot of you will be going back into creative projects or starting new projects with ideas that came up in the last 3.5 weeks. A lot of you may not have really moved forward with anything. Mildred's just giving herself a bath here. in a tangible way in the last 3.5 weeks, but you should have gotten a lot of ideas. This is the time to bring in those ideas, see which ones work, apply it to the next week. They will set that firmer foundation for you and move you in a very, very successful movement forward. So it's really all about taking what you've learned and the release of it, taking that energy and moving it forward this week in a very powerful way. And in that kinetic movement forward, you really hone in on all of that beautiful energy, and you make it, you preserve it, you solidify it at the core level, at a foundational level. So have fun too. Water. Work with the element of water for healing, purification, and refinement. Now, the object here, the beautiful, the one, refinement, that's the word we want you to really work on here, because everything has been cleansed, and a lot of stuff has come up for the healing. So this week is about refinement again, really pulling in that energy and solidifying, really testing the waters, having fun with it, going in any direction you want, implementing all of that energy, and all of those ideas that came in with you in the last 3.5 weeks, taking those synchronicities and testing them. You can test the universe, work with the universe one-on-one in this very powerful, connective, and immediate way, looking for signs, absolutely, but also taking that kinetic energy and moving forward, making everything very solid and fashionable. Have fun, enjoy the light energy. You were very, very, had a lot of, not dark energy, but there was like a fog over you, a blanket over you before you've taken that blanket off. Breathe, do breathing exercises in this next week as you move forward. And remember all of this energy that you've accumulated over past lives. So it's time for you to wield that energy and put it out there and integrate it in a very powerful and successful way. This is the first step in the rest of your life. It's a very powerful week for you. So enjoy, Part 1. Enjoy. So that's what we have for you. And yeah, Mildred's sitting on your come back to center card. Excuse me. So very powerful week for you. So if this resonated with you, feel free to give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments below. And of course, check in throughout the week and let us know how you're going. And of course, we have many, many different ways to work with Unicorn Light Tarot. First of all, we would love for you to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be part of this family. We will be doing this, uploading every Sunday afternoon for the week coming, so you can get a heads up on the week coming up. And we also have another really in-depth general reading or beautiful reading that will be coming out every week too. And there's so many other ways to work with us. We have the Unicorn School of Light, we have Unicorn Therapy, we have the Intuition and the Oracle. All of them are free. We have books, we have lots of other ways. All of the links are down below, so feel free, check in with your intuition as always, and see if there's anything that you want to take part in to stay in and around this energy. All right, my darlings, until we meet again, stay safe and safe. Have a beautiful, gorgeous week. You absolutely deserve this power that's in and around you now. So take care until we meet again. Okay, pile 2, if you chose the beautiful white candle going in any direction, this is your reading from Hecate, however you say her name. So we're going to be delving deep into your upcoming week and seeing the themes and what to expect. And of course, don't forget, we have the healing candle any way that you want to use it. It's a light energy of fun and lust and love and beauty and creativity. So you're welcome to go ahead and pull in the energy of abundance and healing, or let go of anything that you no longer need. So we have this going on too. So let's get right into your reading. We're going to start with your tarot and move forward. The King of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. Wonderful. So movement is your word. Absolutely, movement. And for a lot of you, definitely feeling as though keeping it open to see there's beautiful energy here in the last 3.5 weeks. We have, of course, had the Mercury in retrograde. So for you, It's about keeping everything open and seeing where things lie. You really do understand the difference between alignment and control. This is something that you've been actively working on, and the remnants of that in the last 3.5 weeks have become extremely clear to you. And it's a very, very powerful moment where you can use you can wield your power in a very specific way. Now, you're very powerful, and you definitely like to charge ahead. For most of you, there is this charging where you're charging at such a great rate that at some point you just stop and say, I don't even know where I'm going anymore. What am I doing? But you've never had any problem with action and moving forward. Again, charging ahead. You often do charge ahead. Some of you also have you charge ahead in such a way that you miss some of the information, or you tend to fill in the information because you're charging ahead and you need the information to keep up at a lightning speed. So sometimes you don't always get the full story exactly how it is. You've been inclined to sort of not make things up, to pull the energy in or pull the information in, and it's not always given you like this really clear view of who people are, the situation, how to move forward. But this is completely different for you. What you've been doing is that you've been, in the last 3.5 weeks, you probably have had quite a time one way or another, but this is a way in which for you to really move forward with authority, knowing who you are, and really understanding. Again, the other thing that you had too is the control aspect of it. You don't really feel as though you need to control anything. If anything, you are the sort of people or the sort of person that really loves the idea of change, and some of you love it. You don't like necessarily having to go through it, but you love the idea of change and seeing where things lie. But you have this intense impatience that comes with your personality, like this intense impatience that sometimes causes you to move forward in a way, again, with not all the information. So that's the charging ahead. But this is what's happened is, in the last 3.5 weeks, there's a sense of confidence, this underlying knowing that everything will be fine. There's no need to control. You only controlled in a way because you really were impatient in that way. But there is a part of you that really does understand that when you release and surrender, everything comes to you. But now you're actually able to act on it. So this is a very important week for you, because in that releasing, there's not that pent up energy of, it's exhausting galloping forward all the time, right, pal, too, one way or another. And sometimes it's more exhausting because the effort that you put in with the galloping, you expect to see, which is perfectly reasonable, as far as I'm concerned, perfectly reasonable to expect a certain amount of payoff. And when you don't get it, it's very frustrating. And this is a loop that you've been in for a while. But the Eight of Wands coming in, there's something coming in from the surrendering process that's going to move you on very quickly. It's either a contract or something that you've put out there, something that you've wanted is coming in. It's probably in letter form, which is why we said it'll be an offer of some sort. That's why we said it could be some kind of contract or this, that, and the other. Or you're making your way into, you're being shown, or you're coming into, you're turning the head of people that you actually want to work with. Finally, you're getting the sort of you're getting the traction that you deserve. And that's because, when you're galloping ahead, you have that energy around you. It's, the free energy of releasing. It just allows people to see you more clearly, and your energy is just more clear to sort of go in every direction, living spherically, as we say, instead of living linear. And that's the way you're doing, moving forward in one direction, doing this, doing that, putting all your energy in there. And for some of you, it could have been quite frustrating, this process, because you don't really want to end up, but you've galloped so long and you put so much energy and effort into the sort of galloping sequence that you often sort of finished up that project just because you put so much energy into it. Now, it's not really about the galloping. You can sort of like walk, see where you are, allow this energy to come to you. Again, this intense alignment that's coming that's already sort of shifted the way in which you work in the world. So this week will be a sort of a payoff week, as it were. Now, the payoff mate doesn't necessarily, we want you to get out of the way you can do this sometimes, Paul, too, where you have a version of success, and this is something that you've been actively working on one way or another. And if something small comes in as some kind of small victory, you're really excited at that moment, and then like a little while later you're like, well, that victory wasn't enough, where's the next one? Again, that impatience. We want you to stay with this and remember that excuse me, so much happens outside of our sphere of understanding. When you put energy out there, being in alignment, really trusting that your energy is being seen in the right way, and so much is working for you. Your guides are working with you. They're busy, busy bees working for you to get exactly what it is that you want. Just because you can't see what's going on in the background right now doesn't mean it isn't happening. So take these small victories. Now, some of these victories might be huge for some of you, but some of these victories might be seemingly quite small this week. But these are not small victories. We want you to realize that these small victories are just sort of just a small splash of what it is to expect. So we don't want you to be disappointed. Now, some of you, you want everything immediately and right now. But when you really check into who you are, you don't actually want everything right now. So if there's the impatience that comes up, breathe through it and remind yourself you're in alignment now, not in control. Being in release form means that the more release that you give, the more you can work with the universe, and the quicker it can come to you, the more that you release. It seems like paradoxical in a way, but it's the way that it works. The other way that we want to see, now I wouldn't normally say that as to you because it sounds a little egotistical, but you'll know how to deal with this information. We just want to make the point very, very clear. So you're going to get this. When you're in complete alignment, the universe has no choice but to work with you and give you what you want. Be clear about what it is that you want, and the universe will deliver it. They have no qualms about giving you what you want. They don't punish you. They're not like, you're not ready. If you're not ready, you're the one that's blocking it, not them. They are a clear channel at all times. So we want you to remind yourself when you get into, and this is why we're wording it in this very specific way, so for you to understand, when you get into that impatient stance this week, and it will come up, or if these payoffs seem a little bit small and you're like, where's that big payoff, because you've put a lot of work and energy into getting to this, we want to remind you that the more that you stay on track, do not gallop ahead, the more the universe will work with you. Absolutely. So just remind yourself, do it as a mantra if you need to. But energy is coming from the external world into your world, and you're moving through the ladder of success in a very tangible way, which begins this week. So the energy that you have, that you're working with, a real masculine energy that you had before, where you were galloping away, and you kind of used it not against yourself necessarily, but you used it in a very specific way moving forward, which may not have been, again, it may have been used against you a little bit because you were galloping in such a way you weren't really listening to your surroundings. And again, you may have ended up with situations that you didn't really want. So we're just saying to you, this is a way that you'll be using your energy this week, which is absolutely gorgeous, and it's really beautiful. It's magnetic. It's very powerful. It's very masculine energy. It's very divine masculine energy, but it's also rooted and directed in the right direction, knowing where you're going. Now, that's the really important point. So this is all about moving in every direction and also listening to your intuition. That intuition coming in for you is absolutely wonderful, with the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Your divine masculine moving in a certain way because we need that action, but listening to and protecting the divine feminine, your intuition, this is how we need to move. I'm feeling this is what we need to do next. And then trusting and releasing. The divine masculine, or the masculine inside of ourselves, doesn't really want to release. It wants to control. It wants to do but the divine feminine knows that anything that's we need to be receptive. In order to pull in, we need to let go. So working in these paradigms this week will really cause you to put yourself out there in a brand new way, and again, do less work. And see the results coming in with you doing less work. For those of you who are called to, there's a free Intuition and the Oracle. There's a 5-part series that's available on Unicorn Light Tarot, and it's really all about, in many ways, working with the Oracle is sort of secondary. It's really all about working with your inner masculine and your inner feminine, and learning how to see how both of them work, and what messages they give you, and learning to work with them in tandem and balance them, and be a much more grounded, intuitive person. So if you're called to, please check out at least some of the videos all the way through. I think for some of you, they will be really wonderful for you in the next upcoming week. Let's see what we have here. Parenting and love in reverse. So this is for you. And again, these are slightly different messages for different sides of you, but learning how to reparent yourself is something that you will be doing in a really huge way this week. For some of you, you had to kind of bring yourself up or refigurate your childhood after the fact. Some of you will be actually physically parenting your children, but the way in which you listen or the way in which you approach parenting your children will be slightly different. There is a difference in how you're working this week, but a lot of you will come from wanting to reparent yourself in a really glorious way. And that in itself, if you have children, will absolutely deliver to your children too. But it's about renegotiating. Pile 1 had this, but in a different energy. Renegotiating how you work with yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, what it is that you accepted before, and how you're willing to change that and move that around. So this is really important. So there's many different things happening sort of in tandem in a way, with how you direct your energy, and how these small miracles are coming to you, and how you've now accepted at a really, really integral level this reparenting yourself aspect of who you are, to move forward in this glorious manner, to unlearn a lot of the stuff that you learned that really didn't work for you, and that really caused you to really want to be in control and gallop ahead. There's no reason for you to do that, but you're at the core now of being able to release what it is that was behind the action of galloping. So this is not a small week for you, Pile 2. This is a beautiful week. But at the same time, this may feel as though we don't want you to get the impression, it would be a wrong impression to get, that this was about you going back to basics and figuring this out, and nothing about going down the rabbit hole in any way, shape, or form. Nothing like that at all. This is all the work that you've done that's coming up, and everything that's coming together. This is a new process of reparenting yourself, but you've done the groundwork for all of this now. So all of this should move with the greatest of ease. So slide into it and move forward. There's not a lot of work to be done. There's not like years of therapy to go through or anything like that. And on the other level, it's how you direct your energy, which of course comes right directly out of this, how you direct your energy with forgiving the past, forgiving yourself, really releasing into who you are versus the alignment versus control, and allowing in that beautiful fire energy of moving forward to move in a more glorious way, and using that energy. We're finding this week that it's not so much about you physically moving forward, but allowing your energy to physically go out there into the world and seeing what it wields back. And again, it's wielding. Things are moving. A lot of motions. This is the beginning of some intense movement for you that you've been asking for a while. So let's see what we have with the Cosmic Dancer here. Some extra information. Honor the cycles. Absolutely. So again, we don't want you to insist about going down the rabbit hole and going back over your past and this, that, and the other. It's more about honoring where you came from and taking that energy again to reparent. We're not doing that anymore. The cycle has finished. This is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm implementing now. This is about you coming in and figuring out, like, it's almost like you're writing everything down. This is how we're going to do things now. And we're not going back to how we did things before, because they didn't really work out for you in a way that brought you the happiness and the level of success that you wanted. But it's now available to you now, without a doubt, everything that you've wanted. trust and surrender, surrender and trust. Look how happy she is. That's exactly what your real message is. If we had to culminate it and put it into one phrase, it would be two here: surrender and trust. Also, the number two of coming into synchronicity with yourself and another, which means that love is coming into your life one way or another. You're getting ready for it, whether it actually manifests in this week or whether somebody's coming back into your life. For some of you, that could mean that also. But it's also an infinity with yourself coming in. And this reparenting is very, very powerful. Again, it's not like something that's going to take years or anything like that. This is just an offshoot of the work that you've already done. But it's the working in this way, in this mentality, will bring in a sort of a new foundation, a new framework from which you will see a lot of results very quickly. So that's the point that you're at. This is movement. This is movement. You're not staying in one place or what do I need to do next. This is a movement. It's just a matter of how you move your energy, how you work with your energy. It's just completely different. And trust, again, the trust, surrender, and release. Now we also have our Starseeds deck here. Pull one of these for you to get you some extra information. The white candle is perfect for you to move in any direction. And to really see where it goes too, instead of galloping in one direction, to really allow yourself to open up with that spirit of openness, living spherically, not linear. The weight of the world, boundaries let go, it is not yours to carry. This is something that you've been working on too. And releasing also, taking on, because a lot of you are very sensitive and empathic, taking on more than you need to, holding that light. It's been a lot. But you're also releasing that and realizing that it's not selfish to release. You're not supposed to take everything on. A lot of you gallop ahead with the idea that, you know, if I do this myself, it'll come true. I don't need to rely on anyone. I don't need to do this. I'm in control of my own destiny. And while that is true, you take it to a new level. This is about coming back, reconnecting to life, reconnecting to the world, reconnecting to energy in a brand new way, and realizing it's not all on your shoulders. It was never supposed to be that way. And with that comes a little bit more lightness, elemental energies coming in and around you, fairy energies coming in and around you, working with your guides in a light way. The way in which you've gone through the world, sometimes you've taken on so much that the galloping ahead, you know, you're so blinkered that you haven't stopped to smell the roses. You haven't stopped to have some joy. It's almost like you're working through life like you're being tested. We want you to enjoy every day. We want you to come back to yourself, and in that joy and in that beauty, that's when you bring in almost like a net, being shown like a net you put out. I always think it's quite cruel to do that to fishes, but anyway, regardless of my personal thing, I am being shown you just cast out the net and all the fish come in, right? And then you release them later. But that's all you need to do. Cast out the net with joy and that confidence, with that release and faith and trust. You'll also be really working in the next week with intense trust, and working on building that with your either significant other or with your guides, moving into sort of love affairs or moving into a new person coming into your life. For some of you, that will be happening. And you know, you can not exactly test them, but you can work with the universe and you test them a little bit. All right, we said this a little bit in Pile 1. I'd like a sign. I'd like this. I'd like that. I'd like a sign. The universe will absolutely listen. And it will do that. If you feel as though you want to do that, building up that trust for you this week, absolutely go ahead and do that. So making magic, let's get you one last card to finish up this reading. Very powerful movement for you. Again, surrender and release. But also the word for you is movement. But moving forward in a very deliberate fashion. No pottering off there, Pile 2. You know, there's other ways to do it with a lot less effort. And that's the beauty of it. So little luxuries generates luxurious experiences and surroundings. Now, we really want you to see this with the King of Pentacles here. What it is that you want is absolutely available to you, without a doubt. And we don't want to say that it's available without any effort whatsoever. You working in this brand new way is an extreme amount of effort for you. It's just not a lot of physical exertion moving forward in one way. But again, working through anything, anything that you have boundaries around money or success, really checking in on them this week, making sure that you know that you do know that you deserve it. We want to make sure that you know that money is easily accessible and can come in from many different sources. Sometimes you tend to be head on about things, but remember, it can come in from many different sources. It can come in from everywhere. So we want you to go in with the energy of this week of just being so open that there's no way that money come in and success can't come in from every different direction, and expect that too. Powerful movement for you this week, pile 2. So that's what we have for you. If this resonated, do feel free to give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, check in with us throughout the week. And of course, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon too. And come join us at Unicorn Light Tarot. We would love to have you. There's many different ways to work with us too. There's unicorn therapy. There's intuition and the oracle. These free things that we have. If you come and join us at Unicorn Light Tarot. We also have the Unicorn School of Light books. We have all of the information down below. Please check in with your intuition and see if there's any other way that you want to work with this energy or get a little bit more support and love. Everything that you need is down below. Click on the link that most fits you at this time. Sending so much love and light to you. Have so much fun and light with the elementals. Keep it light this week, pile 2. And until we meet again, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye. Okay, all you glorious pile 3s, we are working with the goddess Hecate today, no matter how you say her name or how you spell it. She is here with some deep insights that we've had for pile 1 and pile 2 for your success and what to expect, themes, things that will come up this week. Do not forget, we have our healing candle here. You can use any way that you want. We have activation and healing, bring in abundance. We also have a clove oil on here, which is a little bit of love, extra beautiful energy, bringing in some luck, some romance, and also fertility, however that works for you, with new projects coming up. So if you chose this beautiful candle, the purple candle, working with your guides and higher chakras, spirituality and all of that, then this is your reading. So we are going to start first of all with your tarot. Let's see what we have. We have the 7 of Wands here and the Moon. Ooh, wonderful energy, glorious energy for you. So in this upcoming week, the energy that's coming, we're just coming out of Mercury in retrograde. It's just gone direct in the last day. We've had 3.5 weeks of that. So this is the energy that's underlying exactly what's coming up for you this week. So a lot of you will be finishing off projects or going back to projects, and sort of deliberating how to finish them or bring them to succession. Also, you'll be working with beautiful energy, really getting deep in your own energy too. What's happened in the last 3.5 weeks, pile 3, is just this an amalgam of lots of different things that have been brought up to the surface for you. You're very deep people anyway, without a shadow of a doubt. And some of you could have some real interest in the occult one way or another, but that interest has really been piqued. Not necessarily in the last 3.5 weeks. What's really happened is a lot is released and come out. And some of that fear around, or trepidation around these subject matters of going any deeper, have sort of released. So what we're coming into in this next week is really allowing yourself to sort of go deeper and go into the mysteries of life. And also with all of the projects or whatever it is that you're working on right now, to really allow that energy to sort of give a little extra vavoom to what you're doing. Also, for some of you who have started a few projects and you are planning on finishing them off, or you were planning on finishing them off in the last 3.5 weeks, and although you felt a lot of not necessarily pressure to finish them off, but you had the intention to finish them off but didn't get round to doing that, this is what this week is going to be. It's going to be revisiting them, bringing in this newfound sort of really fun but also deep level, getting really, really deep into the crux of how things work. If it's not the occult, then it's psychology that you're interested in, how the mind works, getting really deep into all of those sort of little crevices where not a lot of people really want to go. For some of you, it could be if you were thinking about going back to school, it could be actually, this is really what I want to do and moving forward on that. But it's sort of, it's not, for some of you, it can be research, but it's attempting to really delve into this information sort of in a brand new way and taking on more information, which of course not only are you interested in, but it's information that's going to integrate within your soul and sort of help you make sense of things that have been coming up for you. Now, some of you may not have been necessarily trepidatious about going into sort of occult matters, but it's about, there wasn't a lot of priority around that. Whatever it is that kept you sort of, I know a little bit about this, I know a little bit about that, but kept you sort of on the sidelines. The last 3.5 weeks particularly has taken you out of that, and now you want to go deeper. So there's a movement into understanding at a core level, at a really, really deep level that's coming in. What's mystery, what's normally sort of unseen or not seen or not understood, and on the variance of that, it could be misunderstood by many. It won't be misunderstood by you. This is what you're interested in this week. Now, it could be getting a few books out of the library and going deeper. It could be this is really what I want to do, pressing the button and saying, I'm going back to school, I'm doing this. These are not situations that are coming out of nowhere. If you're thinking about going back to school, it's been something that's been on your mind for a while, and then all of a sudden in the last 3.5 weeks you really realize that you need or that you want to go in that direction. Now, to be clear, for most of you, it is not needed to go back into an institution in order for you to learn. For most of you, it's better for you to stay out of institutions and be able to learn on your own curve, doing the way, learning and moving forward, movement in the way that you want. You are self-learners, you're self-taught for the most part, even if you have degrees. You approach life in a very sort of different manner. So that won't necessarily work for all of you, but for a couple of people out there who are thinking about going back to school, you may be pushing the button on that. But this is about really getting deep this week into the mystery and really enjoying it, allowing yourself to get right in there and pulling out that beautiful nuanced kind of information that you need. There's a lot of questions that you've been asking in the last 3.5 weeks. Your research, however it is that you approach this week, will bring you back the answers, and you'll really enjoy sort of delving deep. You won't feel as though you're overwhelmed by it. You'll be there have been times in your life when you've really gone into something and you've kind of lost yourself in that. For some of you, you've done that in relationships, you've done that in all sorts of things, and that's because you really allow yourself to dig deep and really delve. When you commit to something, you really commit. You may not be complete committers all the time, but when you commit, you really do. You kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit, right? This is very different though. You have this balanced energy of working with your guides, and they're going to pull you out if you go too deep. But you don't need to worry about that, because you actually going deep and moving forward in this is actually going to bring you back the information that you need. And you're going to be able to find the information almost immediately that you need. You're here to sort of put all of the information that you have together and make these dots. For some of you, you'll be recording them for some kind of work that you'll be presenting to the public, whether that's in a creative form or just having that knowledge, whatever it is. But this is a week for you to move forward and make sense out of not even the darkness, out of the mystery. Some people see it as darkness, you won't. Out of the mystery. This is going to be fun. You also revel in this kind of energy. Again, sometimes you've gone a little bit too far, and getting yourself out has been a little bit of a crazy process, but you're very connected to your guides. For some of you, you're very connected to your bloodline, your ancestry. So for some of you, it might be really specific. You're going deep, delving into ancestry and making some sense out of who you are. But this is a movement forward this week week of finding out exactly who you are, the psychology of it, what makes you up, what makes up the world, how you fit into that information. And it's really important information, and it's highly fascinating, and that's to a degree. The energy around you. Yes, synchronicity and perseverance. Absolutely. So again, synchronicity and perseverance, really finding out to the crux of who you are, the core of who you are, and how you work within this energy. Now, there's an understanding, an element of you that's always done this, but you'll be taking this sort of to the next level. Some might say to the end of it. So if you're working on a book, you'll be completing this and bringing all the threads together in a way that it's good enough to present to the world. Also working with, again, the perseverance and synchronicity, who you are, why these things are happening to you. So it's not just on a psychological level, it's definitely on a sort of, not necessarily an occult level, but it's definitely on a spiritual level, if you want to say that word, spiritual level. It's on a deep hidden level that you're going deep, but you're going deep with all the information that has been laced, that's been given to you, that's been presented to you over the last 3.5 weeks. So you're not going to be lost in this information. Again, this is very exciting for you. It's almost like you're going in armed with exactly what you want. And it's going to be a very, very specific kind of working with this energy. You're going in there with a viewpoint. I want to learn this. I need to learn that. And you're going to get those answers very quickly. And not only will it make sense to you, it'll make sense to others also. But you're doing it with an intention in mind. In many ways, you're going in with the understanding that you're finishing up something, whether it's a physical project, whether it's an understanding of yourself so you can start brand new. There's many different levels. And for many of you, there's many different levels to this. You're finishing off a project so you can start new. You're also understanding where you began, history, how you worked with it, your bloodline, all of that. It's sort of many different variants in there. It's a very sort of open-ended and yet very specific week for you. Very, very exciting. We're working with the Cosmic Dancer Oracle. Going to get you some more information. Very, very exciting because it's almost like you've spent your entire life one way or another finding out this information. And this is the week where it all comes together, ties together, and makes total sense to you. You know, when you get that tingling sort of in your backbone, it goes all the way up. When you absolutely know that there's a truism that's come in, and it's kind of integrated into your soul, and you can feel it. There's going to be a lot of that this week. We call them synchronicities, we call them all sorts of different things, and it's all correct. There's going to be a lot of that for you this week. So let's see what else we have for you here. This one coming in, tap into primal power. Absolutely. You're going to the beginning in a way. And again, for some of you, that's bloodline. That's going into hereditary, going in and tapping into that power. For those of you who are hereditary witches, for instance, or had a lot of matriarchal power. They may not have been able to wield it in the past, but they had a lot of power. And this is something that you're going to be tapping into and really understanding and utilizing and working with them. This is definitely going back to sort of the beginning, but you're not really at the beginning, but you're going to be tapping into this power. You're going to be going deep, and it's very exciting. Let's see what else we have for you here. What else? Fine tune. Absolutely. Taking out that energy, extracting it, putting it all together so it all makes sense. You end a project again. It's almost like you're doing this to be able to help others too. So this is about making sense of this energy coming in. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Making it sense to you. There's going to be a lot of aha moments, a lot of synchronicities. Again, this is not exactly going down the rabbit hole. It might feel as though it's like that, but you're exacting. It's almost like you're a surgeon. You're going in, you're cutting, you're extracting the information that you want. But you're no longer afraid of it. You're no longer afraid of getting lost in it. You're no longer afraid of what you'll find. It's all free for you at this time, and it's these moments. It's drawing everything together that finally makes sense to you, and you can help others. It's a really transitional phase for you, but it's also a very powerful week in that way of coming to like profound conclusions. So yeah, a very, very powerful week. We have the Starseed Oracle here. I want to get you a little bit more information. Let's see what else. And enjoy the process too. This is going to be a very exciting process of getting the answers that you've been seeking one way or another. Now, two of these came up. So let's just see. Okay, I'm actually going to turn this around. Child of the cosmos, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. The beauty of the irony of choosing, of course, the higher chakras and connecting all of the dots where you fit into the world, but also sort of on a micro macro level of getting to this new level of connection and realizing again these aha moments with the purple candle. My goodness, absolutely. So you're doing this on a micro level, seemingly at the beginning, but really it's working toward the macro level, so you can absolutely open it up to the universe, really going deep, seeing where you are, this energy, how it works. You know, a lot of stuff in spirituality, we say this, that, and the other, and it seems so simple, but unless we feel it in our core and we can make it work for ourselves and we can see how it works, it correlates to each individual, and then open it up to sort of the collective, none of it really makes sense. This is what you have this week. It's a very powerful week for you to be able to do this. I'm sorry, defensiveness, writing past wrongs and uprooting. And a lot of this is going back. And again, not going down the rabbit hole of, you're not going back to your past and saying, you know, necessarily why did this happen one way or another. You're not going back to your past at all. It's more of sort of an objective viewpoint of looking over, oh, that's why that happened, this, that, and the other. Putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's almost like, you know, just showing you've got all the pieces. And you this week you'll be given the last two pieces, and now you're putting the jigsaw together. So it's a very powerful week for you. Enjoy it in any way that it comes forward for you, in any way that it manifests for you. Again, it's going deep, but it's extracting what you need at the time. And it's also this sort of really open, receptive, fearless energy, which is really attractive and very attractive about you right now, of being willing to go in there and do this work. Of course, you've been leading up to this your entire life, one way or another. The other thing that we're getting here too, the other message that I'm getting is that a lot of these little inkling stuff that comes up on a physical and mental level will be clearing out too. If you've had stomach problems, third eye headaches, things like that. Those could be clearing out this week also, because as you clear out this old energy, how this energy stuck into your body will be clearing out on a different level. So drink lots of water, hydrate yourself this week, and keep active. You don't have to push your body in any way, shape, or form. Certainly not asking you to train for a marathon, although if you're doing that, absolutely wonderful. But you know, just you know, really move your body every day. It'll help move the old energy out. Again, lots of sleep, whatever you need to do, but have this energy, enjoy this energy in and around you. This is where you've wanted to be, but kept yourself on the outskirts just a little bit. But you're delving right in before. It's you know, it's this passion for the unseen is not new for you in any way, shape, or form. It's just the way in which you're approaching it this week is a little bit different. It's very exciting, Pile 3, very, very exciting. But it's all with the imagery and the understanding that there's going to be these aha moments. There's a finishing, there's a process to this where you'll be able to wrap it up. And that's not to say that you're going to learn absolutely everything about yourself this week, but there will be a chapter that will be finished this week where you can move on. You'll still be interested in these philosophies. You'll still be interested in all of whatever it is, whether it's psychology or moving into the deepness. That's always going to be there. But there is a culminating energy where you find out what you need to find out this week. Labyrinth, transition to higher level of being, raising your energetic vibration, enlightenment. Absolutely, Absolutely. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Couldn't have put it that way ourselves. And also the understanding of the labyrinth of going through again. There's a way to move through the labyrinth. You won't get stuck in there again. The laser kind of pointer. Your guides will be there. Go there, go this, go there. You're not going to be lost in you start this week and a year later you come up. This is going to be a very intense week for you, but it's also going to be a very powerful week of finding out what you need at the time. And of course, at the end of it, you can call it enlightenment one way or another, but for one of the better purposes here, we're going to call it connection. At the end, a real connection to your bloodline, real connection to you, connection to your path, to your honor, why you're here, connection totally to your past and your love in your heart now, connection to the universe, to each and every person and animal and thing and energy in this world. So getting a clearer path to that this week and understanding really who you are. Wonderful, powerful, beautiful week for you, Pile 3. Absolutely wonderful. So that's what we have for you. If it resonated, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, check back during the week. Absolutely. Let us know how you're getting on. And also, if you haven't subscribed and hit that bell icon for Unicorn Light Tarot, we absolutely invite you to do that because we'd love to have you here. There's many different ways to work with us too. We have Unicorn Therapy. We have Intuition and the Oracle. These are 2 free, beautiful manifestation devices and things that you can use and seek out on this channel, as well as other readings, of course. We also have the Unicorn School of Light and my wonderful book too, Healing and Witchcraft in a Conformist World. So always listen to your intuition. All the links are down below. If any of those pique your interest, feel free to go in and explore further. That's what we want to do, not just finish with these readings, but give you other resources to keep you beautiful. So gorgeousness for you in Pile 3. Gorgeousness this week. Sending so much love and light to you. Until we meet again next week, take care. Bye-bye.